Here we are going to learn what is a formatted input output operation. Okay. So here we have three words. One is the formatted, another is the input, and another is the output. Formatted is nothing but you have some kind of formats. I'm giving the basic explanation, like you have the formats like %LD, %LF. Okay, so like that. And input is nothing but input is related to the keyboard. Okay, and output is related to the monitor. Output is related to the monitor and the input is related to the keyboard. And there are two functions. One is the input function and the output function, or the input operation and the output operation. So here, as you can see here, the input operation is nothing but the scanf function or scanf operation. It is also called as the formatted input. Then what is the formatted output? The formatted output is nothing but the printf function. So there are two functions, scanf and printf. Scanf is called as the formatted input and the printf is called as the formatted output. And we are going to discuss how to write the syntax for the formatted input, that is scanf, and also the formatted output, that is the printf. So what is the use of the scanf function here? The scanf function is used to read the data from the keyboard. For example, from the keyboard, let us say one user has entered a number like 10. Let us say user has entered a number like 10. And this 10 will be stored in the memory. This 10 will be stored in the memory. Memory is nothing but the RAM. But in C language, who is going to store this value 10 into the RAM? In the C language, the function or the operation which is going to store this value inside the memory, we are calling that as a scanf function. So that is the main use of the scanf function. And how to write the scanf function code in C language? This is the syntax. As you can see here, you can relate this syntax with the example. There are so many examples are given. Let us take the example 1. There are two parts are there. There are how many parts are there? Two parts are there. One is the double quotes part is there, and another is the comma part is there. This is the comma part and this is the double quote part. And in the double quote part, at this inside the double quotes, we are going to write the control string. What we are going to write? Control string. So what do you mean by control string? The control string is nothing but the format specifier is nothing but the control string. We are calling the format specifier as the control string. Both are same. And here you are in the comma part. After the comma, you are going to write the ampersand symbol. What is the important symbol that is compulsory in scanf? Ampersand. That is the ampersand. Okay, here you are going to write ampersand symbol before the name of the variable. Here the name of the variable is a, and before a I am writing the ampersand symbol. See here, there are so many syntaxes are given. In this particular syntax number 1, I am only going to take a single variable, and if you go to the second example, I am going to take two variables. And here the type of formats is %LD. Here the type of format is %LF. Here I am going to read a single pointed value. Let us say something like 10.5. Like that I have taken so many examples here. So scanf %LD ampersand a. Let us discuss this one. Let us say I have entered something like 10. So by this statement, what happens? The 10 will be stored into a variable a by the scanf function. Here ampersand is nothing but the address operator, because for every as we know, for every variable there is some address. So let us say the address is something like 1200. So ampersand is nothing but how much? 1200. Means in 1200 address the value entered, that is 10, will be stored. Okay, so ampersand is compulsory in scanf. Next, if you take this one, okay, if you take the second example here, the second example is this one. Here we are going to store two values. A is the first value and B is going to be our second value. Let us say A contains 10 and B consists of the 20 value. Here I am using 2% D. Okay, so into A I am going to take the first value. Here we are reading the value, we are not printing the value. That is that you need to remember. And into B I am going to store the second value entered by the user. Let us say the user has entered the first value as 10 and the second value as 20. These values can be stored in A and B. So scanf is going to store two integer values in this particular example. Now in the third example I am going to store a single float value into m. M is the next variable. Into this variable m I am going to store, let us say 10.5. Okay, what is the value I have stored? 10.5. So that's why I have used the format as %f, because I am going to store a float value. In this example 4 I am going to store not a single float value, I am going to store two float values. So I have taken m and n as the name of the float variables. Let us take something like 10.5 here and 20.6 here in the n. Okay, so the number of formats are how many here? 2 are there. The number of formats must be equal to the number of variables. How many variables are there? 2 variables are there. So that we need to remember. Okay, here the arguments variable 1 and ampersand variable n specifies the address of the location. Okay, where is that? The ampersand variable 1, they will specify the addresses of the locations, and the control string, this we have already discussed. So first we have to remember what are the format specifier, as we have already learned. %l is used for reading an integer value. %lf is used for reading a real value, that is the float value, pointed value. %lc is for a character, and this is a new thing, that is the %ls is for string. This is not required. Okay, this we will learn in the later chapters. So this is the explanation about the scanf function. Now let us go for the printf function. Here we have taken the examples. Value is equal to %ld a. In A we have already stored 10. What is the value that we have stored in A? As you can see here, by using the scanf, into A I have stored a value like 10 here. The first step is reading the value into the variable, and after scanf you can print that value which is already stored by using the printf function. So scanf function is immediately followed by the printf function. So reading the value is completed. Now I am going to print the value. So what is that is there in the double quotes will be printed as it is, and the value of A will be printed. In order to print I need to specify the format specifier. As it is an integer I am writing it as %ld. The value of A is 10. Similarly here two values are there, A and B. A value is 10. We have a backslash and the cursor will move to the next line, and the next value will be printed in the second line. Like this the output is going to come. Similarly, let us Let us go here. M value is printed. Do you know what is the M value? We have already stored the M value here in the we are using the scanf. That is the 10.5. Now I am going to print that value 10.5 by using the printf function. So whenever I print the M value, automatically the value 10.5 will be stored. So next, example 4, as it is going to print something like values is equal to %f M value. M value is already 10.5. And what is the value of n? Let us see here what we have read by using the scanf function into n. As you can see here, n consists of 20.6. So I am going to print that n value by using the printf statement. So here we have used the \t, means whenever you use the \t between this first value and the second value, I am going to get some 5 lines of, that is the 5 spaces, 1 2 3 4 5. Now here the value of n will be printed, that is nothing but the 20.6. So in this we have learned what is a formatted input output operations and scanf and printf. We have defined the syntaxes for them, and also we have given a number of examples to understand them.